Okay, everyone can make money, but can you actually keep it? These are bad beliefs that keep money running from you using a bit of the law of attraction, but more logically. The main thing to know is the income that you make doesn't build the wealth. It's the behavior that you have when you have the money each month or each quarter or whenever you take out the money. It flows to more valuable people that are actually giving in the world. So if you're just working one job, you're wondering why you're not earning 100k a month. It's just because you're working a job rather than providing value, which is being the owner of a system. That's the main thing. But in this video, we're talking about why you can't keep the money, if you can't keep the money. So yeah, it flows to more valuable people and it runs from those that absolutely need it, the people that are begging for it, but have limiting beliefs around the money. So we're talking about limiting beliefs, all in the subconscious mind that you've got to train through months and months of imagining different scenarios. Someone I know, one of my friends, he earns tons of money, but he works like a slave. He just does. Like what I do now, I did 73 hours. So imagine you just working 73 hours in 1 week for 4 weeks. And then that's when the job transitioned into about 66 hours. And that's what I do now. That's including personal training and the full-time sales job. But even using your time to make money is not even the best way to make money. Other platforms are making me a lot more money. I'm not even touching it. I haven't touched it in a year and it's still giving me 60 quid, 100 quid, 500 quid. So yeah, don't just go to the job for the money. It's just to get a bit of savings to start up whatever you want to do. So I was having a talk with my mate, the guy that makes a lot of money, but he just works a lot. I said, why don't you have any money? Why have you not? Because he's always moaned about he's not got enough money. And I said, where does it all go? And he said, I don't want money. I'd rather spend it so it's gone. I was like, well, that's why you don't have it. You've got a stupid belief about money. And he just tries to spend it. He doesn't want it, but then he moans when he hasn't got it. So he's counteracting what he wants. Beliefs like that. You want something, but you're not doing the thing. And it's really obvious until you're actually doing it yourself. Because you've probably got a few of these on you that are a bit more micro. It's under the surface. So he's got a pretty ingrained limited belief, probably from his family. It goes from family member to family member, and then you just take on that unless you think differently. So it depends if you're the turning point for your family, if you've never experienced wealth in this way. Now, I didn't tell him he was wrong, because if I told him my angle, he was not in a place to hear it. So using the law of attraction, he would not have even picked up what I was saying. He would have just shrugged it off. But do you have any of these other beliefs? These are a few now, I'm going to say. So, I deserve money now. That's what you're thinking. I deserve this money. And if you're saying I deserve it, that shows that you've got a lack. And if you're lacking money, you're not going to attract it because you're in the wrong space. You need to imagine yourself with it. And then you focus on a different aspect of your life that's going well, and the money will increase. Because that's still a desire of yours. You're not going to forget about it just because you're not paying attention to it. But having these thoughts is like you fighting a pro boxer for the first time. You've just got no chance. You're a beginner fighter, you're going to fight a pro. That's what you're dealing with a limiting belief. You want this really good thing, but you're in here, not there. Right, another huge one that I hear is, I'll save when I get more money. Now this is just an excuse. This is backwards in your own head. And you think it makes sense in a weird way, but it doesn't. So you start now, and then in the future, you're going to have more money. That's basically what it is. And while I'm saying these, you're probably going, yeah, obviously. But you're still thinking in the back of your head, some of this is true. Another thing is more money will fix it. And now happiness doesn't really relate. The only reason it would relate to money is because you're not stressing over not having any money. But it does not fill the gap for low self-esteem or low confidence. And now a huge thing is, I need to look successful for my friends, for my colleagues. I need to buy this car, so I've got a Mercedes. But yeah, someone at my work's bought a Mercedes, and I don't really give a crap. So she could buy whatever she wanted. I don't care. So you trying to impress other people doesn't really matter. And you're just wasting money on things that you think will make you happy, whereas it's more of an ego thing. Don't let your lifestyle creep up too much just because your ego needs to be soothed. This just burns money. So don't buy all these expensive things just to show off. And wealthy people are selfish. That's a big one. Because if you want to be wealthy and you're thinking of selfish, but you're not selfish, that's not gonna align because you don't want to turn into that. As long as you see rich people as good, wealthy people as good, whatever you want to call it, you can't think we're bad for having money. You've got to really want it, and you've got to know that you can have it and that it fits your identity. So this is where the identity shift, that's the whole thing of law of attraction. Just embody it in your identity and it will be a lot easier to attract because you're not going to put it off by all these limiting beliefs. If you want something and you're not trying to stop it That's how it's going to come. So what I struggled with personally with actually making money was the responsibility of having it and having all these jobs to do and messing up. I didn't want that. So starting this new job, I've realised I've got a lot of responsibilities, and if I mess up big time, because now you can't tax a car because you've done it the wrong way, and here to pick it up on the weekend and you can't go to the post office, and everything is ruined. Car sales, there's a lot of things to go wrong, and I was thinking, do I want to be in this job? I know it's tons of money, like you could make over 75 grand a year, but what if you mess up? And it kind of put me off. So I was looking for new jobs. I was using every excuse to get out. But then I saw the paycheck come in, and I'm talking to all my colleagues, and we're having good banter each time, and things started changing, and now I actually love the job. Yeah, so if you make higher income, you're susceptible to make bigger mistakes, and you can lose 100 grand rather than just losing a couple of £100 because your pay is so shit. So don't be afraid of the responsibility that it comes with. That's a huge thing for me that I've just stopped doing. And now I'm just taking on all this responsibility, and that's when the money's finally turned up in my life. And for most people, your lifestyle expands instantly. As soon as you run into a load of money, especially if it's not yours, like if someone's died and you've inherited a lot of money, and you've just got 300 grand suddenly, you'll burn it all just because you're not synced up with that money. So if that ever happens, I'd say let it sit in your bank account for 6 months and just feel like you've got that money now. You're halfway to being a millionaire, you know, and then it won't go because you will lose it if you don't feel like this. You need to feel like you deserve it, like it is your money rather than just a gift. Because if it's a gift, you just go, oh, I haven't earned it. I haven't worked hours for it. And then you'll spend it on stupid stuff that'll just depreciate, like a car. So yeah, don't let your expenses silently rise just because you're not paying attention to them. Slowly pay attention to them. Like each month I work out all my expenses, where they're going, into my investments, 10% into here, 20% into there, adverts for me, personal training, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, all you're focusing on is buying a car and all this stuff, but your savings are getting ignored. You need to save up at least 10 grand in your bank. Do that first, and then put some money into an appreciating asset, or put it into the stock market, put it into real estate if you can save up 20 grand for a down payment, and then start renting out to people. Real estate, stock market, own your own business if you have a low startup cost. I wouldn't start a business that cost 200 grand, like this gym I wanted to start one day. It was 160 grand that you've got to fund into a gym. And I want to do it, but I'm not going to save up 160 grand just for a gym, a franchise that's not mine. I think I want it to be mine. So you do whatever you think, but make sure you put into your savings first and then start experimenting with all these investments. So the big point I talked about earlier, which needs readdressing, is your identity needs to sync up with the person that actually has money. So I'll say again, your identity needs to sync up with the person that actually has the money. And then you will keep the money. Because if you're like my mate and he makes a lot of money, but he doesn't feel like his identity can keep the money because he said money's bad, I'd rather get rid of it every single month. You're just going to drain it. All these excuses will drain it. So think about what it is for you and stop that. Just change your identity. Put it into whatever you want so you can actually attract the money and keep it. You want to dream about it. You want to fantasize about what life's going to be like when you've got the money. If you've got an extra 100 grand in your bank, plan what it's going to be like. So with my motorbike, which is coming, I've started to plan what it's going to be like. So I've said, what's the maintenance for a motorbike? How do you clean your chain? How to do all this? But if you start thinking of the lifestyle that you're going to have and how it's going to impact, like where you're going to park it, where you're going to do this, how you're going to clean it, where you're going to store it, all these fit into place, and then it'll start coming to you and you'll get the bike instantly because everything's planned out. Whereas if you just say, I want a bike, full stop, and you don't think about it anymore, nothing's going to develop. And that's part of the law of attraction as well. If you plan everything out and you have less limiting beliefs, it's just going to happen because you're not going to stop yourself. And the biggest thing is delayed gratification. Now you need this. Stop watching porn. That's the biggest thing. Stop eating sweets and chocolates and anything that's going to give you a dopamine rush. Get to the gym, lift some heavy weight, and I'm serious, heavy weight. Like 100 kg bench press, pull-ups with weighted strapped to you. I do 40 kg weighted pull-ups. So I'm 80 plus the 40 is 120 kg lifting up. When you lift that sort of weight, you'll get a dopamine rush and you'll get addicted to the gym like I've been. And that's why I'm a personal trainer as well. And I push my clients to the max and they stay with me over a year just because I make them feel that dopamine rush. Whereas if you go in the gym half-arsed, you're never going to feel that emotion and you're just going to go back to all this porn and shit. When you make money, put it into a pot and save it and leave it alone and watch it grow into the stock market for 10 years. That's delayed gratification, and you see how much interest you made. And that interest compounds onto the next month. Compound interest goes up loads, but that doesn't happen if you're just trying to get a quick win and buy something out of impulse. So that is my biggest point, delayed gratification. That's what I needed, that's what I've done, and that's what works. So that'll work with everybody. With social media, stop social media, get rid of that. It's not healthy at all. I literally don't follow anyone on social media. I don't go on it unless my girlfriend sends me stuff at night when she just wants to chill. Now, this is the most important part. This is actionable steps. So how to keep your money rather than just spending it is pay yourself first in an ISA where you get high interest that you can't take it out, in stocks, in a business, online business, digital products. That's the easiest thing to get into. That's what I started with. Into your savings, that's a good starting point so you don't feel any of this drag like you're putting 500 quid a month into the stock market, but you've got no savings. It's not logical. So savings first, then into the stocks, into your ISA, into businesses. Also, how to keep your money is to remove access, lock it away, give it to a family member that you trust, put it in the ISA that you can't touch for a year. Automate everything so there's no risk. So make sure the Trading 212 or whichever trading account you use takes the money out each month, unless you've got the discipline to do it each month like me, because my income fluctuates. So I just put 10% in a month, and then you're never up or down. Increase the gap. This is going to be my next video, I think. Increase the gap versus what you're earning from what you're spending. So make sure if you're earning 200k a year, that you're not spending 160k a year. Same thing for little income. So if you're making 20 grand a year, make sure you're not spending 15 grand a year. How are you going to do that? You just got to increase your income first. Get it to a threshold where you can manage what sounds nice to you, and then just get the expenses down, push them down, cancel everything. And the last part is the identity shift. So this is what you need to adopt in your mindset, which is stop acting rich, just be rich, make the money, and you don't need to show it off too much. Like, look what I'm wearing, just a Gymshark hoodie. I'm not wearing any Versace, like my dad used to buy me, and he bought me Louis Vuittons and stuff. I wore them twice. You don't need all that stuff. Start becoming wealthy in your thoughts and identity. So this is just you thinking each day in a positive way. If you start talking bad about money, just stop yourself. If you're 60 seconds into talking bad in your own head, just calm your mind down, forget about it, do something else, and then start appreciating it again. Even if you haven't got any right now, appreciate what you have got. Anyone can make money. That's a good thought to have in your identity. Just think anyone can make money. You can be stupid, you can be smart, anyone can make money. Doesn't matter. It can be online, it could be in person, it could be with fitness, it could be with cars, it could be anything. It could be with OnlyFans or selling your socks online. Another good mindset tip is money is easy and always flowing. That's a huge one for me because it is flowing. We sell 81 cars a month, about 80 cars a month we sell. Each car is about 25 grand. So imagine how much money is flowing in and out of our accounts. Can you imagine that? That's a huge point, because when you're thinking money's dry and it's not flowing, everything's stagnant, it's just because you're not on the wavelength. You need to get up here to where the money is. You need to start buying cars and selling cars instead of you just working one job, spending the money on expenses, and you're at the base level, because that just feels shit. Remove your specific limiting belief and it'll flow. So whatever yours is, if you've resonated with any of these tips, focus on it. If it's responsibility, if it's excuses, if it's your parents pushing these beliefs onto you, just forget about them. And it takes time, it takes months. But I've mentored myself into these. Don't you dare bang my wires. Bro, that's it for this one. Subscribe for smarter money decisions, and I'll see you in the next one for income and expenses.